across eastern and northeastern part. So when we interact with these entrepreneurs, most of them have shared that they are facing problem with regard to, say, procuring raw material, transportation, and especially in the northeastern part of the country, maybe because of the geography, so there is a kind of a cutoff from outside region. So they face a lot of trouble with regard to managing their supply chain. So in that note, we would like to start the next session on supply chain management. So here we have with us Mr. Anshuman Basu, who is the Secretary General of Association for Supply Chain Professionals. I welcome and ask Mr. Basu to be there on the stage. Anshuman is actually a very important part of our endeavor of women wielding workplace. He has come from Mumbai to Calcutta to Kolkata, and then yesterday with us, he's come to Mizoram to interact with you, to have more informal interaction with you after his session. So to give a little brief about Mr. Basu, he is the Director of SCM Programs at Mumbai, and he is the Secretary General of the Association for Supply Chain Professionals. He has more than 24 years of corporate experience in India and in the Middle East. He has had several leadership roles and worked across diverse cultures, and also served as the first chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce's Supply Chain Committee, representing US MNCs in India. Mr. Basu will be speaking about a very new concept, so I will not delve into it. I'll put it on his shoulders to explain to us about responsible chain throughout his speech. So over to you, Anshuman. So if you have any questions, you can stop him in between, right, Anshuman? And if there is any language barrier, please feel free to ask. So Mimi is there. So a lot of people, because we can't really speak the language, so please feel free to ask us anything in between. Thank you. Over to you, Anshuman.
Thank you very much, Arina. I'll start with the typical cliched statement that I'm between you and the lunch. So, but I promise that I will perhaps try to. I promise I will be finishing on time, of course. Firstly, my name is Anshuman Basu, and this is my first trip to Mizoram. Very happy to be here, and this is certainly courtesy contact base, Mr. Shumon, Arina. Beautiful place, and I've been told that everybody wants to know about supply chain. They have supply chain issues, and supply chain is a major concern. So let's make it very interactive, as Arina had initially said. Let's not make it one way, make it a little interactive. So let's first start with, what is your understanding about supply chain? I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs here, so what is your understanding about supply chain? And we can talk about your issues also, of course, but then what is your primary understanding about what is supply chain management?
If I consider that, yes, it's a manufacturing business,
right.
So supply chain starts from the phase when I start procuring raw materials from my supplier, and it ends when my final product reaches the customer.
Excellent. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Anybody else? That is certainly what supply chain is, but there are a few more things about supply chain. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to actually, so I understand supply chain was a major concern. So please, like she said, that you can stop me in between and ask me about your concerns, about what problems you are having in supply chain. Though, let me tell you, I'm representing here the Association of Supply Chain Professionals, and we, as an association, we are not any solution providers to your supply chain issues, but we are a platform. We are a platform wherein you can talk about your supply chain issues, you can talk about, you can showcase the best practices in supply chain. The platform actually showcases the supply chain best practices happening all across the world, not just in India. We have people who are from the academia, we have people who are basically students of supply chain management, we have people who are professionals in the corporate industry, entrepreneurs who are actually having, having some kind of supply chain business, or they are into any kind of supply chain, kind of in services or manufacturing. So anybody, they have to do with supply chain. This is the association, and we are actually representing that association. So we are not any solution providers, but we are a platform. So that is the first thing. And in today's presentation, of course, I'm going to talk about what supply chain management is, about our association definitely, what supply chain management is, a few things about Mizoram that I have understood from my interaction. Even yesterday we had a fantastic interaction with some of the leaders here. And I'm going to talk about certain aspects of supply chain which can probably improve your businesses. So, can I request you please? So, let's first understand what ASCP or our association is and what does it do. We, like I said, as we are an association, we articulate the genuine needs and concerns of supply chain professionals in India and will be available for consultation to take up policy issues needed for the sector. We encourage and promote interactions among the members to showcase innovative practices, focusing on the best industry solutions. We support to create skilled manpower, that is one of the important things, and opportunities to generate employment in India. We facilitate and sponsor events for all-round industry engagement and networking, and we want to be the center of the thought leadership and innovation in supply chain, research and development, imparting world-class expertise. Our association is a not-for-profit association registered by the Bombay Charitable Trust, established under the Societies Registration Act. We are the only association in the country which is for supply chain and logistics professionals. Our association is established to promote supply chain and logistics professionals and build up desired levels of expertise and skills for the professionals in the supply chain system. We provide opportunities for professionals to communicate, develop, and improve supply chain managerial skills and create awareness about innovations and appropriate supply chain systems for efficient business growth, thereby strengthening the economy. Now, coming back to, this is about our association. And you want to know more about our association, of course, you can visit the website, you can ask me, I'm here, going to be here for the entire day. So we certainly want to be amongst the top supply chain association, professional associations in the world, and we while providing leadership in developing and enhancing the supply chain management profession across the country. Now, coming back to the classical definition of supply chain, I'm going to get into that. But let me just tell you, while with my interaction yesterday, and not just here in Mizoram, anywhere, anywhere in the country, people actually, when we say supply chain, what comes to our mind is we have transportation issues, warehousing issues, procurement issues. But supply chain is just not that. Supply chain is the entire cycle from the farm to the fork. So basically farm to fork. It's not just transportation, warehousing, demand planning, sourcing, procurement is just part of supply chain. It's not that. In fact, in today's times, the most important thing in supply chain is, and to your surprise, and it will help your business, is customer delight. And I'm going to talk about that. That is what supply chain is all about. customer satisfaction is a given these days. I mean, it's something which is expected. It's not something which you are, if you're satisfying your customer, it's not something you are doing something extra. But if you're delighting your customer, that is something which you have to do to enhance, to progress, to make progress in your business. I'm going to talk about that in details. But let us first go and identify what is the classical definition of supply chain management. So, supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services and includes all the processes that converts raw materials into final products for reaching to the end customer. Farm to fork, the entire chain. Examples of supply chain activities include farming, refining, design, manufacturing, demand planning, sales and operations planning, packaging, transportation. So, transportation and warehousing is just one aspect of it. Packaging is equally important. And lastly, and that is the most important thing, the customer service. You may do everything. You may have fantastic transportation services. You may have fantastic warehousing. You are getting your goods on time. You're sending your goods on time. But if your end customer is not satisfied with your service or with your product, the entire supply chain is failed. So customer service is a very important aspect of supply chain, of the entire supply chain. So in this day and age, efficient supply chain management is important because it increases competitiveness. Because if you have to compete globally, not just within India, you have to be responsive and thereby customer satisfaction by reaching goods and services with quality and affordability. Of course, that is basically the cost. So let's go to the next one, please. Yeah. So I was just talking to some of the experts from the state yesterday. We had a fantastic evening actually, and our host, Ms. Esther, actually, treated us pretty well, and we had fantastic interaction with a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs here. And I identified a lot of opportunities which are here actually, and there are a lot of challenges. Now, there are logistics challenges in this place, in this state. We understand that. It's not going to be forever, for sure. Things will change. Things will certainly change in Mizoram, things will certainly change in India, things will certainly change in terms of logistics infrastructure. What probably you can do to improve your business, to be future ready, is to improve your supply chain. Logistics part, certainly you can't do everything about it. You can't improve your roads. That is the government which has to do that. You can't create infrastructure as entrepreneurs, but you can improve your supply chain. The physical part of it is something which probably will improve over the time. And I've come across actually in Mizoram, there's a fantastic and I have this copy also, the Mizoram State Logistics Policy 2022. Just last year it was released. I don't know how many of you have gone through it or probably know about it. So this encompasses everything, whatever this state needs. And this will happen. This will certainly happen over the years. But then what you can do is to improve your business, is improve your supply chain. Physical part of it will certainly go. Look at the positives that you have in this state. Today, the entire world is actually focusing on, eco-friendly products, on sustainable products, sustainable business. This state has abundance of it. You are actually see the positive part of it. Use your business. You come into this kind of business wherein you can use eco-friendly products, eco-friendly services. Tourism, homestays. This business is booming all across the country, and this is the place. Northeast is the place. Mizoram is the place. It's a beautiful place. You can get into that business. So forget the physical aspect part of it, but if you enhance the customer's delight part of it in your business, in tourism, in homestays, you have a fantastic. The positive part of it is most of the people here speak very good English, I would say, compared to many of the other states. at least most of you understand, most of you can speak, and that is certainly better than many other states. This is a plus point of this state, and this can be used for your businesses. You have fantastic soft skills, in terms of music, in terms of culture, in terms of arts and craft. Mizoram is way ahead. In fact, this is the statistics. Somebody was talking about this in the morning. Mizoram is one of the fastest growing economies within India, amongst other states. So there are a lot of positives. Logistics is just one part of supply chain, and it will improve. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about so much of wastage happening in agriculture produce. It's just not in Mizoram. It is happening all over the country. In fact, India is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the country, in the world. Second largest producer of food and vegetables in the world. India is the largest producer of spices in the world. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. India is the largest, one of the largest producer of, probably the largest producer of cashews. I mean, certain products are. This is the largest, producer country in the world. In fact, but the wastage that is happening in agriculture, not just in Mizoram, because of lack of cold storage or lack of cold chain and warehouse and temperature controlled warehouse and all. Everywhere in the country it is like this. Somewhere it's little getting better, somewhere it is getting built up. In India, 35% of the agriculture is, the produce is getting wasted. And that is in millions and billions. Actually, if that percentage is improved, India can feed the entire world. And even if it improves by 2% or 5%, it is in millions. So, a little improvement can certainly yield a lot of results. And so all these cold storages, all these temperature controlled warehouses will happen in this country, in this state. In fact, it's not there in many other states also, and the wastage is much more than Mizoram. So don't much focus on the logistics part of it, but focus on the entire supply chain part of it, wherein you can do what you can do actually. You can actually improve the customer satisfaction part, and I'll tell you how you can do this. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a certain concept wherein it will improve your businesses, and it is called, it is a Japanese term, it's called Omotenashi. How many of you know about it? No. It's called Omotenashi, which means anticipating your customers' needs. Hospitality plus mindfulness. Yesterday we went for this coffee in the evening. Fantastic hospitality. It's like, it went above our expectations. How? I actually went there for coffee, but the hospitality was so fantastic. We were all like, in awe. So that's Omotenashi. So in your businesses, in your product, in your services, if you bring in that awe factor, that Omotenashi factor, that extra thing, it will improve your businesses. Basically, anticipate your customers' needs. Now, how you can do it? I'll tell you. Through supply chain. So supply chain does not focus about raw material nahi aa raha hai. I don't have cold storage. That is fine. All these things will improve. The logistics policy, like I said, has everything in this state, and it will happen over the time. But by that time, get yourself ready for the future. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So I was talking about Omotenashi. This is a Japanese concept which we have to bring it in our supply chains. So how? Of course, there are a lot of things which you can do. You can reduce, you can reuse, you can recycle, you can give that extra. You might be having some unique products here, so you can bring in, identify that extra thing which your customers would need, which they would feel very good when they receive that product or that service. So identify those things and work upon those things. If you have a good customer base, your businesses will improve. You can expand. Other things will anyways fall into place somehow, gradually. Okay, so I'm going to talk about now. So the world over now, supply chain is now graduating to responsible chain. How? Because now we are talking about sustainability measures in supply chain. So it's just not about physical movement of goods, movement of goods from one place to another, and getting your service or your products to the customer. So it's all about creating that wow factor with sustainability measures, and that's what is called responsible. In Japan, they no more call supply chain as supply chain. They call it responsible chain. And why? They have brought in this socially responsible chain factor within supply chain. What is the three pillar? Of course, we know people, planet, profit. These are the three things in sustainability which has to be taken care while you're doing your businesses. See, you might be a startup, it's entrepreneur, but you have to look into all these things if you have to grow and if you have to cater to future businesses, not just within India, but outside India. Okay, so and what is supply chain sustainability? Supply chain sustainability is the management of social, environmental, and economic impacts and the encouragement of good governance practices throughout the life cycles of goods and services. It involves integrating environmentally and financially viable practices into the complete supply chain life cycle. Okay, so that is something about responsible chain. Now I'm going to talk about how you can improve that wow factor, which I was again and again I'm repeating that you have to bring in that customer delight factor in your services. So customer service, customer satisfaction is a given. That's a thing of the past. So nobody will get impressed if the customer is satisfied. You have to bring in that delight factor. So how you can do this? The next one. The next one. Yeah. Okay. So there are 5 things in supply chain, in your product or in your services that you can improve. Nothing to do with the physical aspect of it. Physical, which is the logistics part of it. What? First of all, the order experience. If you have a product or if you have a service, how is your customer ordering that product or your service? So that experience has to be very unique, very easy, very customer friendly. So understanding the customer's needs, and of course you have to do some kind of market research. You have to do competitive analysis. You have to understand your competitors. You have to study them. You have to do that competitive analysis. You have to have data from products and use of technology, of course. The other one, that is the design and the marketing one. The first one. So designing your product, identifying and marketing your product. The second one is of course the order experience. So there is no point if the supply chain processes are not designed to deliver on the promise. Another thing is, if you are promising some service or a product to your customer and you are giving them a particular time, adhere to that time. Sometimes it is very good if you are promising a certain date and you are actually delivering it before time. Sometimes even before time is not good. So always strive to be on time. In fact, in services, before time is not appreciated. Actually, it has to be on time. So that's one more thing. The other thing is the delivery experience. In the delivery experience, of course, your product is good, your service is good, but then when it is being delivered, that wow factor is missing. So your delivery process also should have that finesse, should have that that wow factor in that. How your delivery person is behaving, how your delivery person, if you are delivering it through courier or something like that, how is it happening? You have to understand, you have to streamline and bring finesse to that entire process. That is part of the entire supply chain experience. Of course, the post-product, post-experience, the kind of post-sale experience, which is the service experience. That is also something which has to be taken care of. It's not that you have sold the product or the service and then after that you are unavailable. So then the entire experience of the customer actually will go, it will be negative. product quality experience, and of course here is where responsible supply chain comes into picture, whether it is environment friendly, and that's where Mizoram products can excel. Like I said, eco-friendly products and everything. Diversity, of course, plays a big role. Labor practices, how ethical is your business. So these are the typical points for a responsible chain, which we have transformed from supply chain to responsible chain. Okay, so to summarize it, 5 points for the first-rate exceptional service, which can give a wow experience, which can give that customer delight factor instead of customer satisfaction, is a bespoke design and marketing experience, a first-rate order experience, a first-rate delivery experience, a first-rate service experience, and the first-rate product quality experience, of course. So let us strive in your business for customer delight. If you strive for that, and it's a continuous process, if you strive for that, you will excel. You can compete not just within India, but globally. And that's what every global buyer is looking for today. Globally, if you want to compete, you have to be, you don't have to look at only the domestic business, but global business. Okay, so I already gave you an overview about our association, what we do. So, yeah, so these are some of the, like I said, we are a platform again for supply chain professionals. So we do events, we do programs on supply chain. Our next conference is going to come up in November. So, sorry, in December, on the December 2nd in Mumbai. So, any one of you interested can join the conference, wherein you will meet various other experts. Like I said, it's a platform for networking, sharing best practices in supply chain. You can get to know, you can interact, you can talk about your issues. You might find somebody who is probably a solution provider there. So a lot of things are, a lot of opportunities are there with this kind of platform. We also talk about a lot of policy issues. We create such platforms and programs. So there are a lot of things. You can go to our website and of course get to know more about what we are doing. So this is it, and like I said, this logistics policy of 2022 is certainly going to be a game changer. It will certainly bring a lot of improvements in the logistics part. Or supply chain part I've already explained to you, but on the logistics part it is certainly going to bring a lot of changes. So please go through it also, you will feel more confident about what is happening in your state. And so in fact, I have identified some 10 points, logistics points basically, which are going to actually improve this the condition of supply chain in this state. That is it. So, any questions I can certainly take. So I think I am just in time with my presentation, as I promised. So any questions I can be happy to take now or probably later. Any question? Yeah, please.
So my question is more very specific. So through your platform, do you provide, let's say, a listing of all the, let's say, the transport or the logistic companies, like say, for example, in Aizawl, or in, let's say, in Guwahati? Do you guys have a consolidated list like that?
So we don't have a consolidated list like that, but what I can tell you is, in our association, we have almost all the top transporters in the country who are members. So if you come to any of our events, probably this event in December, you are going to meet probably the top transporters in the country. So and most of the transporters, actually big transporters, they actually have presence in Northeast. In fact, one of the biggest transporters is one of our main sponsors, basically, of our programs, and they have a big presence in Northeast. So we don't have a list as such, and but yes, certainly you can come to our programs and network and probably know them more. And you're Zumoi, right?
Yeah.
So I was, in fact, your story is a very success story. And in fact, yesterday when we were having this discussion last evening, probably it will be a very good opportunity for us, for the other logistics, supply chain professionals, I would say, because when we talk about Mizoram or Northeast, we know there's a lot of talent there, a lot of things happening there, but we really probably have no reach. I mean, thanks to contact base that we have come here, we are working on you. But I think it will be very good if you come and showcase your presentation there, your success story. You never know, you were talking about a market, in Mumbai, that region, and we have people coming from all across the country. And people will be amazed to understand. I mean, I was amazed to know that you have a product which you are actually going to market all over the country, and it's very popular in this region. So, and many of us probably don't know about that, and we want to know about such things happening in Northeast, happening in places like Mizoram. In my association, everybody was happy when they got to know that we are doing this with contact base, and I'm going to go to Mizoram. None of us probably in the leadership, very few of us would have probably come to Mizoram. So we want to know more about what is happening here, and with successful entrepreneurs like you, it will be fantastic to know more about your success story.
Any question? And just one more thing, there is an app called Porter.
Yeah.
PORTER. I don't know if you may want to kind of check whether it is accessible or it is available in Mizoram. Particularly for nano businesses and micro businesses, this has been a game changer. I mean, I can tell you right from my own experience in Bengal, significant. I mean, I had seen cases where the cost of transportation of a particular small little consignment of craft and items from 3,300, it was brought down to 1,600 rupees just by using that app. And fairly remote areas of Bengal, I have seen it is being applicable, even in Jharkhand. Honestly, I should have tried it yesterday, but I did not. So my that Porter PORTER is the app name. So kindly check that if it is, because this is fantastic. And if it is not available in Mizoram, I'm sure it is available in Guwahati at least. So if you have any work happening there, so it's a small little things here and there, so you may want to use this. But we can definitely help you to get that list of. So this is something which we'll keep in mind. We'll try and work that through, because this is something which I know Guwahati has a transportation conglomeration. So I'll have to reach out to them and try and get that list. So that should be available.
In fact, this weather is very conducive, very much apt for ginger production. And even in Bengal, the North Bengal region is actually a big producer of ginger. Japan is one of the biggest consumers of this raw ginger, not the little dry ginger that we probably use in the other states. Now, one of the things, I'll just give you a very live example. 5 years back, one of the Japanese companies whom we brought, in fact my company brought from Japan, and we went to all the districts of West Bengal identifying unique products. So this company identified ginger as a product which they would like to import in Japan, and that was of course identified near the Siliguri region. What they said is the ginger quality is very good, excellent quality ginger. That is something which Japanese would like to eat, because Japanese they are very particular about the quality. It might be fresh, it might they use that 5 senses. In Japan, for every product, for every food, they have these 5 senses. It should look good, it should of course smell good, it should feel good, it should the entire presentation has to be good. So they have a particular way of cutting the ginger. They put ginger in every of their dishes. So when you go to the supermarkets there, so ginger is not sold like how we sell ginger here in India. It's so clean that you don't have to wash it. You can just buy it from the supermarket and cut it and actually eat it. Probably use it for your food, making your food. Now, what they said is, we can buy ginger from Bengal, from India for that matter, but we can't sell it there like this. It has to be, so there, that's where supply chain comes into picture, and I was talking about the wow factor. They said that ginger, we can procure the ginger from here, but we have to package it so well. First of all, wash it, clean it. It has to be packaged so well, and they gave an idea to us. They said in Japan, when they sell vegetables or any produce from the farms, they just don't sell it like this. Like how is it? It's a small story where this ginger has been produced. Who is the farmer? Even they have the farmer's picture also in that small tag. And they said that you have to make a tag like this with the farmer's name, the region, something about this particular ginger, this variety of ginger, and have a fantastic packaging, sell it, and it will sell in Japan. So this produce in Mizoram, it has a huge scope. So you can actually, it's just not Japan, entire Far East actually is a market for products like ginger. And why just Far East? Within India also, now that people have that that kind of that consumerism is coming in with the supermarket concepts and all in other cities. You can sell those kind of products with that kind of tags, with that kind of packaging in our domestic market, and it will sell, and probably with a little premium, and there is a market for that. So there is a huge scope even with products like ginger, and I saw some products like turmeric and all, of course. But then fresh produce can be sold like that. I was talking about we were talking about wastages in agriculture. It's not just happening in Mizoram, it's happening everywhere in the country. 35% of our agriculture produce is getting wasted because of bad handling, no cold storage, no cold chain. Mizoram is not an exception. And in this policy, of course, there are a lot of things. Those logistics part will happen. But let us focus on our supply chain part, what the things that we can do. Yes.
Any other question? All right, thank you. Sorry,
Thank you.
thank you, Anshuman.
Thank you very much.
See, supply chain is of course probably many of us in this room would be wondering whether supply chain is something which you need to bother. But again, if you are producing great things, so let's say I was talking to the NetFee team. So my question was, let's say, do you have, let's say, soil testing? Soil testing, I'm sure a lot of whatever farmers cooperative or FPCs, etc. They need soil testing done. And soil testing, I don't know what is the status in Mizoram. In Bengal, the soil testing queue, the government lab queue, is 54 lakhs. So there are 54 lakhs test requests are sitting there in the queue. So obviously, think about it, those farmers will never get their report, right? And at least in foreseeable future. The reason that it's not that because it is free or something like that. Unfortunately, there is no private enterprise which is effective, available on soil testing. Because soil testing is little, it's a chemical process, little, is not predictable, and there is no standardized method for that. But there is a, very small, this small kit is being developed by a biotechnology company based out of Capital. So they have, and this kit, the microprocessor, etc., this kit can handle blood tests as well as, because it's the basic chemistry. Because in the tube you just put in blood or you put in the soil along with the water. But the basic chemistry is very similar. So that's how they do the testing. And they have added on facilities like ECG and a little bit of some elements of unit tests and things, stuff like that, which is what you need as a private institution. So I was wondering if there are things like this. So any one of you in this room or anybody whom you know who are interested in or you are working in healthcare or wellness and things like that, if they need anything like this, this equipment is available only in 80,000 rupees. The basic, not even 80,000, 60,000 or 65,000 is the basic unit. So if you add the pieces, the ECG and all that, and there are many people who use telemedicines and remote medicinal facilities, etc. Because the doctor cannot wait for the test report to come after maybe a week or whatever. Right? So they are using all that. So there are innovative products, small little things available, and there are solar dehydrators available. There are solar powered cold storage is available, very small facility, even half a ton, quarter of a ton. So those facilities are available. Very, very effective solutions. Only thing is, maybe we are not aware of. Maybe we need to create some, some people to come and demonstrate, and then, let's say now that you are aware that Esther, who is helping us to organize it, she also does, let's say, she works for some of these companies who are into coffee machines and coffee beans. So maybe tomorrow's few enterprises we need to create those who can, so some of these solutions, let's say, solar dehydrators, solar-based cold chain solutions, etc., etc. So those things are available, very small micro solutions, very cost efficient. But without those, items or those technologies, it will be very difficult for us to be able to produce it here and sell it to the rest of the country. I can tell you, let's say, dry ginger. The other day I was just joking with, yesterday when we were talking to the dry ginger. Now actually dry ginger is become a hot item purely because of wellness post-COVID. Because people, for some reason, somebody said dry ginger is good. Lacadon, this thing is, turmeric is very good because of whatever. So people have started using it without even knowing whether it is Lacadon or it is coming from somewhere else. But why these, some of the enterprises who are listed on Amazon who are doing really well, you'll be surprised to know the guy whom I got the dry ginger, you'll be surprised to know the guy is actually based out of Rajkot in Gujarat. Can you bet? So initially I did not recognize because the first 10, because at the end of the day, when you do a search, the first 10, 20 or the first 3 pages is where the game is in terms of whether you are successful or not. And there are many tools and nuances by way of which you organize this business so that when there is a search for a particular item, whether your item pops up on the first 3 or not. If you are not on the first 3 or 4 pages, there is no way that a customer will be able to reach you, right? And that particular product or the producer or supplier popped up as the 7th guy on the first list, and he is from Rajkot. Very big. So what I'm trying to say is maybe locally we need to figure out some branding, little bit of nuances, digital marketing nuances, etc. we can set up. And then of course the supply chain, because Amazon charges maybe little more for northeastern deliveries, etc. But those things can be worked out. So supply chain is very important, packaging, the information in terms of nutritional parameters and all that. So those are things we need to work on. We just can't give it.